episode 9 of Mrs. B's podcast. My name is Sarah. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Mrs. B the Knitter. There's also a Ravelry group for the podcast. You can find it by going over to Ravelry and searching Mrs. B's podcast in the groups tab. Please do feel free to come and join us, especially as there are only 5 days left of the Keep Calm Cal, and it would be great if you came over and joined in. To those of you who are coming back to watch, maybe for the second, third, however many times, thank you so much for coming back. It means a great deal. And to those of you who are new, hello, welcome. So today I have a brand new mug, with brand new stuff to put in it that I've never tried before. So a very, very kind friend sent me a lovely package, and in it was a mug from her home city. So a lovely New York skyline mug. Fantastic. I've never been to New York. I have a couple of friends now who live there. And she also sent with this beautiful mug and many other things, some tea for me to try. And these are lots of different teas that we don't get here in the UK, or if we do, I certainly don't know where we get them. And I decided to save them and to try them on the podcast. So today I am trying Bigelow tea. I love lemon with vitamin C. So that is what I am drinking today. It's still very warm because I only brewed it a little while back, but it's yummy, yummy, yummy. It's got lemon verbena and peppermint and things like that in it, and it's just yum, yum, yum. And even though it is really warm outside, I say really warm, it's really warm for England outside. Good bit of lemon tea. Never goes amiss. Yum, yum, yum. So thank you very much, my friend. Very much appreciated, and I love the fact that mug holds lots and lots. There's no having to go back and top up for second cups. That is one big mug, and it's filled with very yummy stuff at the minute. So thank you very much, and I'll be trying the other tea bags. Some of them on the podcast and some of them in between. They all look very, very yummy, so thank you very much for sending those over for me to try. Some knitting. So I have 2 finished objects, which I'd kind of hope I'd have at least something finished, because it's been a month since I last recorded, which was not my intention at all. There was indefinite, concrete intention to have a second podcast in May, and it just didn't happen. May was just, one of those months where just whoosh, whoosh, gone. Lots of not very interesting things going on, but lots of things going on. You will notice that today I do not have a co-host. I do not have my little fairy friend with me. Hattie has gone on holiday to my mum's house in Cornwall. So Hattie is having a holiday in Cornwall in this beautiful sunshine that we are having, and which means she's not here with me. Which I'm very sad that she's not here with me, but I'm also very happy for her that she's getting a very nice holiday in Cornwall. She loves my mum to pieces. She now loves my mum's dog. It took them a little while to find their little kind of balance. So Hattie's there having lots of fun, and I'm getting lots of daily updates. So no co-host, just me, sorry. So let's have a look. Knitting, finished objects. I finished my socks. Socks. I finished my socks and I'm very excited about that. These socks were an interesting experiment. I tried a different heel, so I've tried a top hat thumb joint heel on the 2 of them, and these are knit out of Felt Fusion Supernova, which is the main colour, and then Felt Fusion Rainbow Mini Skein for the heel and toe. And I use the same mini skein for both heels and toes. They were knit on 2.5mm needles, and the interesting thing about them is that I changed my knitting style halfway through the first sock. This was the first sock, and I can just about tell the difference in terms of size of stitch, neatness of stitch, that sort of thing, that was the first sock. And I just found a more comfortable way of holding my needles. I didn't change from English to continental or anything like that. I still knit English style, but instead of doing a kind of a real throw around the needle, I now kind of do a flick around the needle. It's still not quite true flicking, it's still throwing, but it's a little bit easier on my hands. But it did mean a slight change in gauge. So I have one sock that is slightly bigger than the other, but that's okay because I have one foot slightly bigger than the other. I do have a couple of little bits, I don't know if you can see, got a little bit of holy something going on there, which I will sort out. And I think I've picked up a stitch quite badly there and just kind of stretched it out. I haven't blocked these yet, they haven't had a wash yet, but they've been done for a couple of weeks. And I quite like them. They're going to be my work socks for going to work when it's a little bit cooler. So yay! And this was Felt Fusions Superwash Merino and Nylon Base, 80%, 20%. And they're really nice, really soft, really yummy. I like the colours. I'm glad they're finished. Socks take me ages. So those are going to get a bath a little bit later on. My other finished object is this, and this is my, and I just realised I showed you the back of it first. This is the front of it, so this is the front. It doesn't look much difference, but there is a difference. So this is the front. This I have called Densa. Densa is the Cornish word that means good man, and this is a shawl that I designed and then I knit, and then I designed it a bit more as I went along. It was a real learning curve, this project, and it's not perfect by any stretch of anyone's imagination, but I like it. It's knit out of Blacker Yarn Cornish Tin, which was their 10th anniversary limited edition yarn that they did. This is the 4-ply, and this is using the green, the blue and the red. It's inspired by the character of Jamie from Outlander and kind of tartan and things like that, and just Scotland needing nice, good, sturdy woolen things to wrap up in. But as I was kind of in the process of designing it, I knew I wanted to use Cornish tin as my yarn. I had it in my stash, and I come from Cornwall, and I'm very proud of coming from Cornwall. And Cornwall is quite similar to Scotland in many ways, in that the kind of, if you go back into history, it was a very tribal, clan based area. It's Celtic. Scotland is Gaelic, which is slightly different, but everyone lumps them together. So Cornwall is Celtic. There is a Cornish tartan. Rather than having family tartans, there is just a blanket Cornish tartan, which is quite pretty. And I don't know, this just kind of, this said I want to be Celtic-y and Gaelic-y and Scotland inspired and Cornwall inspired, and ended up with a Cornish name, Densa, which means good man, so a Cornish word for a Scottish character, and this is what I ended up with. However, a few little bits on it that I'm not quite sure about. The two sides are slightly different lengths, so if you put the ends together, it doesn't fold exactly in the middle. It's about an inch off, and yet the stitch count is exactly the same on both sides, and I think it's because of the increases that I used. They weren't quite even, and I don't think my garter tab cast on was quite even either. The other thing that I'm probably going to change, because this is an ongoing process, designing is an ongoing process, are the increases down the middle. So I did a little twisted stitch down the middle, and I did a make one right, make one left. And because I twisted the stitches in between the two, it means that there's slightly more space on one side than there is on the other side, which has meant it's been slightly uneven. It's a half linen stitch, a 2-colour half linen stitch, and I really like it. I finished it off with just some garter rows and a little picot bind off, and like I said, I really like it. It's not perfect, there are a few kinks to work out, but I really enjoyed the process of designing it. This bottom kind of border and bind off got ripped back so many times. I tried so many different things. I was like, oh, that would be a good idea, and started knitting, and then no. I did start knitting a really nice applied border, which would have been perfect for it, absolutely perfect for it. I got about a third of the way through it, and then realised I was going to run out of yarn. So that quite clearly wasn't going to work. So, yeah, good fun. I finished this in time. I really, really wanted to finish it in time for an outside wedding that I was going to in Norway. And I did finish it in time. I very, very hastily blocked it, in that it wasn't blocked properly. It just had a soak, had wires put through the top, pegs hung off the bottom, and got hung outside overnight. I don't know what I was thinking. I looked at the weather forecast. It said it wasn't going to rain. I took a chance because I finished it the day before I was due to fly. So it was kind of, well, it either doesn't go, or it has a hasty bath and a not very good blocking, and it hangs overnight outside. It blocked out really nicely, however there's a lot more blocking to be done. It's got a lot more stretch in it. I need to really kind of give it a good hard block to see what happens to it, but also I think that would be great for the bind off. I think, you know, just to bring out the detail. Yeah, so it's going to be reblocked. And I took it all the way to Norway, and I did not wear it for the wedding because it was baking hot in Norway. It was so warm, 24 degrees every single day. It was, you know, by the time nighttime fell, I think I put my cardigan on over my, I wore a short sleeve blouse to the wedding, and I put my cardigan on over the top at about 11:30, quarter to midnight, and that was generally only because the midges were starting to bite and I wanted to protect my arms. So I definitely didn't need a shawl. No one was cold at the wedding, and the day before and the day after I definitely didn't need a shawl because it was just, I mean, baking hot. It was like 12 degrees at night because the sun is up for so long. Sunset was at 12:20 at night. So 20 past midnight was the official sunset, and I say that in inverted commas because the sun didn't actually set. It just got really low on the horizon and then started coming back up again. So it was a great wedding, absolutely fantastic, but if it had have been cold, I wanted to wear this. So I'm very glad that I got it all sorted. So this is now an internationally travelled shawl. Yeah, and it's nice. And I like it, and it's warm and it's cosy and it's sturdy and it's practical, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be. Just like the Scots, just like the Cornish. Yeah, practical and useful. The other thing that I want to work out with this pattern is it looks like I got a picot point right at the bottom of the middle stitches, but I didn't. It's about 2 stitches off. And as I was doing it, I was binding off, and my mum was sitting next to me, and we were on a train. So that's going to bug me. She's like, no, you don't, you know, it's fine, don't worry. Bit of blocking, sort it right out. And it's going to bug me. For this shawl, it's not going to bug me, because for this shawl, perfection isn't necessary. This is just, I'm just going to love this shawl no matter what. This is my first ever self-designed shawl. But when I try it again the next time, that is not going to happen. I am going to, we're going to have a point at the bottom directly in line. So those are my 2 finished objects. My shawl, my socks, yay! And I think I've probably waffled about them enough. So let's have a move on to works in progress. One of whom is missing. I put it down there this morning, but it is now missing. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to go and find it. Hello, back again. I found it! Oh, my sheep. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will have seen me posting about my sheep on tour. My sheep came to Norway with me, yay! So this was a bag that I got for my birthday. It's from Shop Luli on Etsy, and in it, my Doctor Who socks. So these ones, I started the cuff, the purple bit, on my train up to London Heathrow. I then finished the cuff at Heathrow and on the plane. And then I knit this bit, so the leg of the sock while I was in Norway. I knit the heel of the sock whilst I was on the plane on the way home. And then I've knit 2 and a bit stripes since then. I've used a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I'm using my Knit Pro Zings, which are the needles that I took on the plane with me. I was a little bit worried. Everyone says, oh no, it's fine, travelling with needles not a problem. I'm not a huge fan of my Knit Pro Zings, my circulars, because of the join between the cable and the needle. So I was like, if they get confiscated, I'm not going to be devastated. But I did put in some bamboo double points just in case. It was fine. They didn't even bat an eyelid, just went straight through. So hey ho, nothing to worry about. I am knitting these out of Fab Funky Fibres. It's called the Doctor's Scarf. It's self-striping, 75% merino, 25% nylon. It is designed to knit up into the same pattern as the Doctor Who scarf that Tom Baker wore when he was Doctor Who, which was series 12, I think. So yeah, they're coming out really nicely, really fun. I caked up the yarn before I left, so it comes in 2 50-gram skeins so that you can knit 2 socks at the same time if you want to. I decided to do them one at a time, partly because I find that a little bit easier, but also because I was thinking, if I get to the airport and I've done all that work on the cuff and they confiscate my knitting needles and there's 2 socks on the needles, that's probably going to take me a little bit more faff to get off the needles, or to pick up stitches if needs be, than just the one. So I just cast on the one, and I'm happy with that decision. That decision was a good decision for me. So yeah, so these were my little take to Norway socks. I didn't take a book to Norway with me because I flew out on the Friday evening. I was there Saturday, Sunday, and I flew back on the Monday evening. So 2 and a bit days. I didn't check any luggage. I just took hand luggage, and the book I'm reading at the minute is about yay thick and weighs about half a kilo, so I didn't want to take it with me. I took my knitting instead, and these are being knit up now because Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick podcast is running a Doctor Who cowl this month. So each month her knit along theme is changing. So I think last month was Jane Austen, the month before was Harry Potter, this month is Doctor Who, so I thought I'm going to knit my Doctor Who socks. The yarn has been sitting in my stash for a few months, waiting for me to get around to it, and I think they're really cool. I'm playing around with the different stitch count, so rather than 64 stitches there's 68, just because 64 for me is a little bit snug, and I just want to give myself a little bit more room, especially around the cuff and the leg. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel from memory, which I am very proud of, because I can just about remember what my name is on a daily basis, so to remember an entire pattern on a plane, yeah, I was quite proud of myself. So and I did get asked quite a few questions about it. People going, oh, is that knitting that you're doing? Yeah. Oh, what are you making? I'm making a sock. Oh, a child's sock. No, it's an adult sock. Really? Yeah. Like, does it stretch? Yeah. So yeah, that was quite good fun, and I was quite proud of the fact that I remembered the Fish Lips Kiss heel without any mistakes. It went okay. I did take a little bit, I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to do this heel or an afterthought heel, so I did take a little bit of scrap yarn with me, and I just used those as my markers. When the pattern called for markers, I just used that as my marker. So yeah, I'm rather pleased with those, and hopefully they will come along quite nicely, and I'm going to try not to leave it a whole month before I see you again. I will have the winners of the knit along to announce anyway, and I will get to that in a little moment. The other work in progress that I have has been a work in progress since last year. For those of you who watched the very first episode of Mrs. B's podcast, you will remember these socks. These socks are British Bee Knits is the self-striping, and then Coop Knits Socks, yeah, is the heel and the cuff. And I'd got to the point, I think, where I just started the second heel, and they then just got put to one side and completely forgotten about. I have now restarted them. These are going to be men's socks, hence why they are just so huge. So these are men's socks. They're really pretty. I like the way I love these colours, these stripes. This was a Halloween colourway, but I'm not a fan of horror movies, so I don't watch horror movies. I don't have a clue about the horror movie that it was inspired by, so I couldn't tell you whether it's good, bad, gory or ugly. But I do really like the colourway that resulted from it. So yeah. So when these are finished, they were originally for my father-in-law, but I think I'm going to give them to my friend Dan instead. I'm not sure yet. I haven't made up my mind. I think they've got the same size feet, so it doesn't really matter. That one was. So yeah, these socks are back, back in action, and at some point they will be finished. I think we've fairly well established on this podcast that I am a very slow knitter. I'm certainly not a monogamous knitter. I have lots and lots of works in progress, and I think that's one of my problems, that I have lots of works in progress that don't progress very far because there are too many of them. And I find that I actually really enjoy finishing things, so I'm going to try and be a bit more monogamous about things and try not to cast on lots and lots and lots and lots. But I need to cast off some stuff, which means getting some things done. Those socks are currently being housed in my French Meadows project bag, along with the leftovers from my Denser shawl, and they will be placed into their own project bag at some point, but this is just living down the side of my sofa at the minute. My final work in progress that I want to show you leads me quite nicely onto a bit of yarny goodness that isn't to do with works in progress or buying yarn. So my final work in progress that I want to show you, when I can haul it out, is this little munchkin. I am knitting up another baby vertebrae. It's a little bit short. I bound off the bottom too quickly. I misread the pattern slightly. Oops. This is a double knit weight, and I read the fingering weight by accident. So this is about 2 centimeters too short. So I'm just going to undo my bind off and add a bit more to the bottom when I'm done with the sleeves. But this yarn is double knit Blue Face Leicester, and I dyed it myself, and I really like it. It's come out really nicely. This is the cake. It's a little bit more green than it's showing up. I am filming in the afternoon because I had to take the car to the garage this morning, so I dyed that one myself, which I'm really chuffed with. I was just having a play around, a mess around, out in the garden with some dyes, some yarn, and a really cheap microwave. But I've had so much fun. This was being knit up into a shawl, which, nice, really nice pattern, really nice yarn, my opinion, but the two didn't work together. So this is another one that I have dyed myself. So all yellows and blues and greens. This was inspired by daisies in the grass and the beautiful blue sky. So those two are ones that I have dyed up myself, but I've also been playing around with a few others. So alongside that blue, oh, I forgot to say actually what this one was. This one is 100% Superwash Falkland Merino, and this is fingering weight. I dyed up a pink Blue Faced Leicester double knit. This one I've called, I've named them all. I'm not sure I could repeat any of them. I'm not sure if I'd want to repeat any of them, but I gave them all names. So this is called Daisies. The little cardigan one, this one is called Ocean, because it's a really kind of turquoisey blue that has come out. I called this one the Rose Garden. Some lovely pinks and greens, yellows. This is also double knit Blue Faced Leicester. So lots of different colours in there. Ooh, it's very sunny today. And this one I've called Princesses Don't Have to Wear Pink. Makes sense to me. I think I really love this. Just trying to see if I can get it to show up properly. The sun is blowing everything out. This little bit just here on the side, it's one of my favourite bits. I kind of look at this and go, oh, I've got lots of little bits, like this bit at the top between the pinks and the blues. Yum yum, like it. So those are my double knit Blue Faced Leicester. Like I said, the Daisies one was Superwash Falkland Merino, and I've also on that base dyed up this one, which I've called Orchard, because the underlying dye colour is a mint green, and then it's just all different shades of green and red kind of in there as well, and it just reminded me of apples, so I called it Orchard. And this one, and this one is very kind of lots of primary colours. This one was called Accidental Hero, and the partner to that is on a Falkland Merino and silk base, and it is called Marvel, because I am a big fan of the Marvels films. I like Marvels films. I think they're great. So these are the two superhero inspired colourways, Marvel and Accidental Hero. And the last skein that I dyed up was this one, which I've called Circus Cabaret. This is going to be, if the pattern works with the yarn, this is going to be a present for a very good friend of mine. And it kind of goes from kind of dark purples and greens out into this kind of speckled lime green and white, and as it goes through, it gets progressively, there are purple speckles, and then there's orange and red speckles added in, green speckles, and until it goes right through to a dark purple in the middle. And I had so much fun. I understand why dyers do it. It is just so addictive, absolutely. Just, yeah, really fun to just play around with the colours, see what different techniques produce in terms of how the colours mix, what sort of depth of colour you get, and I can't wait to do it again. So next month I'm going to have another little play around, but I'm going to try, I'm putting myself on a yarn diet. After Norway, I'm putting myself on a yarn diet, and I want to try and use up my stash before I add to it, be it from myself dyeing things or buying things in. I did, however, whilst I was dyeing, also buy some fibre to dye. I've already spun some of it up, but I want to show you the unspun stuff. So this is the second half of the fibre that I've already spun up, and this is Polwarth, and it starts with this dark purple, and it goes through and gets progressively lighter with these little kind of pastel bits in, and then gets more kind of dappled. We start to get some blues and greens kind of in there, and it goes through to this kind of pastel end. Like I say, I have already spun up. I'm just trying to see it. I put it out earlier and I can't find it. It's gone. I put it out earlier. Why is everything disappearing on me today? Because I'm unprepared. I didn't write things down. So I have spun up half of that already, and it's come out really nicely. The other one I spun up was this one. So this braid, nice bright primaries, but also with darker bits in it. And this is Blue Faced Leicester. So it'll be interesting to see how that one spins up. I'm just going to wrap it in a circle so you can see all of it together. So I'm just trying to... Oh, I've picked a really bad time of day to film. Goodness. And the last one is 100% superwash merino, Falkland merino, and this got dyed up in a speckledy rainbow of colours, which I thought was quite fun and quite pretty. And it's so soft. Oh my gosh, it's like a little cloud. So that is, it's so soft. Little cloud of rainbowy goodness. So again, really exciting. It's interesting to see how the difference between dyeing up fibre and dyeing up yarn, and how different techniques, the same technique on the two different bases, can produce completely different results. Lots of fun. I will definitely be doing it again. But again, trying to use up my stash and actually spin the stuff that I have. I fell off the wagon pretty bad during May in terms of adding stuff to my stash. So June and July is going to be all about trying to clear that through, and actually just knit and spin from what I have in stash. Having said that, I do belong to the Time Travellers Club for Hilltop Cloud, and I am not going to stop belonging to that, because once a month I get sent really cool fibre, and this month it was the Amazonian Water Lily, inspired by the Amazonian Water Lily, and this is a BFL merino and linen blend. I've never spun linen before, and it's come out, it's a really lovely kind of pink grey white blend, and I'm not going to give up my subscription to that club. I'm just going to keep adding that to my stash, but I'm going to try and be really good. It's going to go so badly, but I'm going to try and be really good about not buying loads of stuff and adding to my stash, but just using what I've got. I'm such a slow knitter that if I just keep adding to my stash at the rate that I knit and spin, my house is just going to be full of yarn, and my husband will probably leave me. Either that or he'll drown in the yarn. So with that in mind, let me show you what I added to my stash this month. So bad. So in May, I couldn't help but purchase some of these lovely Rolags from Fondant Fibre. They are Merino, BFL, Bamboo and Gold Sparkle, and the name of the colourway is Sarah. So it's kind of like they don't really count in terms of adding to stash, because if something has your name, why, you should be allowed to kind of count it as free, right? So if someone makes a chocolate called Sarah, those calories don't count as far as I'm concerned, so therefore this fibre doesn't count. It's absolutely gorgeous, kind of cream and apricot pinks with a lovely gold sparkle in it, and it is a dream to spin. It's so soft, it's so yummy, it practically spins itself. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous and delightful to spin. So that got added in along with my Hilltop fibre, so that was it for fibre being added in. But as I mentioned, I went to Norway. I have been back now 3 days. I went to Norway for a wedding. The wedding was on the Saturday, about an hour and a half outside of Bergen, and I arrived back in Bergen around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had a lovely wander around with some friends. They then flew home that afternoon, and then on Monday I was like, right, I am going to explore the city. So I knew that there were yarn shops there. I googled them before I went, and I read the reviews of them that people had kind of posted up, and I decided there were a couple I wanted to go and look at. Before I did any of that though, I got up really early while the heat wasn't too bad, and I hiked the mountain. I hiked up the mountain with all my luggage, because my hotel did not have a left luggage facility, and I wasn't aware of the lockers at the Tourist Information Centre. So I hiked up the mountain with my luggage. It was still quite warm, but I'm so glad I did, because it was only 3 kilometres apparently, according to the guide. Granted, 3 kilometres of fairly steep, just constantly going up. And when I got to the top, the view was absolutely amazing. I also had cake for breakfast, which I did not feel guilty about at all, because I just hiked up a mountain carrying about 10 kilos worth of luggage. And I sat at the top, I did some knitting, I enjoyed the view, I breathed in the fresh air, I made the most out of the breeze, because although there was a bit of a breeze going on in Bergen down in the city, it was nowhere near as good as the one up on the mountain. And then I hiked back down again, and then I went yarn shopping. So I went into 2 yarn shops. There was one yarn shop, there were 3 yarn shops in Bergen. One of them I didn't go into because just having read the reviews of it, it's not really kind of something that would interest me, and the rest of the shop wasn't anything that was of particular interest. It was very, I had a look in through the window. It's very touristy and souvenir kind of based shop, and I thought, I've only got a limited time in the city, it's on the other side to the other places that I want to go to, so I explored that area for about half an hour or so and looked around all the little shops around there, and then I kind of went, no, okay, I'm going to go to the yarn shops that I actually want to go to. And in one of them, I'm pretty sure I can get this wool online if I wanted to, but since I was there, and actually it was really reasonable. Norway is horrifically expensive. I will just put that out there. Eating out in Norway and staying in hotels in Norway is really expensive. I was quite shocked. So, and don't buy alcohol in Norway unless you want to bankrupt yourself. So I didn't buy any alcohol in Norway. All the alcohol at the wedding was stuff that people had brought with them. Yeah. because it is just so expensive. But the yarn is actually really, really, really reasonable, and it's cheaper than the UK for some of the brands. So, in one of the shops, I bought, and I'm going to say it wrong, Sandnes Garn, which, and their Peer Gynt, which is a double knit, and it is 100% Norsk ull, which I'm guessing is Norwegian wool. It says made in Norway. Norsk generally means Norwegian or North. So, and I bought 4 balls. There we go. To make I haven't done much Fair Isle or much stranded knitting, and I really want to do a bit more, and I thought that I could make a nice Norwegian inspired hat out of these. Yeah, and they cost about £3 a ball each. They're 50 grams, so I think that's fairly comparable, I think, to 100% wool here in the UK, depending on which brand you're going for. In the other shop, I found wool that is slightly less commercially available online, and certainly I haven't seen it, but again, still really reasonable. And I bought 4 skeins. So these are both the same type of yarn. They're called Norsk Pessul or Pelsul. Oh, I need to learn how to pronounce things. I did find out that thank you is Tussentag and fish market is Fisketoljen. So I try to learn something whenever I go to a foreign country that where English isn't the native language. I always try to learn a few words. I always try to go over to that country already knowing yes, no, please and thank you. However, I didn't do that with Norway. I was so unprepared to travel. I was packing the morning that I was getting the train out to fly out, so completely unprepared. Also, I know that in Norway they speak fantastically good English. I never want to rely on that though, so as I was going around I was trying to learn all these different words. So yeah, Tussentag and Fisketoljen are about as far as I got, but hey, it's better than what I went with. So these are Norsk Pelsul. I'm just going to pronounce it how it's written. Again, double knit, and a lovely turquoise and a kind of a browny grey. And then to go along with them, Ren Norsk Ull, and again a really nice but light turquoise with a little bit of grey in, and this beautiful poppy pink. And when I say poppy, I don't mean poppy the flower, I mean like poppy pink. And I think the 4 of them work really nicely together. And I'm thinking I'm going to make a 4-coloured shawl. I might even try the Exploration Station again. I'm not sure. Or I might devise one of myself. Not of myself. I think I might design one by myself. Gosh, I'm tripping over my words today. Oh dear. Oh dear. So yeah, so these were my purchases in Norway. These 4 and the other 4. Just have a little play around with. They are quite a rustic feel, so the Peer Gynt is quite, for me, quite scratchy. Well, not scratchy. It's not super soft. It's not super like, ooh yeah, merino, just go and kind of lie in a vat of it. It's sturdier wool, I think is the term I would be looking for. And the 2 from the other shop, they remind me quite a lot of the Cornish tin yarn from Blacker Yarns. They've kind of got that rustic feel. But as I picked them up and I was kind of carrying around the shop and looking at them under different light, and I picked up a few different colour combinations and then was kind of putting them back. The more I held on to them and the warmer they got, the softer they were. Does that make any sense? But they do feel really nice, and I think a nice big squishy shawl out of them would be absolutely lovely. I only have 2 more things to show you that have been added to the stash, and then it's on to knit along news. Woohoo! So last month I signed up for another one of Rosie's Moments boxes, because Rosie's boxes are just fantastic. Yeah, and I really like them. They're so thoughtful and really well put together. And this time it was the Railway Children. And in there were some biscuits and there was some licorice. They're not in existence anymore, so I can't show you those. But there was some English afternoon tea, a little finger stitch counter, a little Russian doll keyring, which is just so cute. And for those of you who know the story of the Railway Children, you know this is about the Russian prisoner that they, or the Russian escaped prisoner that they had out. I think he was an escaped prisoner. You know when you're like, I have read the book, I've also seen the film. The Russian came to live with them. For some reason I want to say he was an escaped prisoner, but I'm not sure he actually was. I think he was just a Russian in England. And the children's dad had been sent to prison kind of wrongly for something he hadn't done, and Rosie put in a lovely mug, enamel mug, like the one that he would have had in prison for his tea. Yay! So they were just beautifully themed boxes, really, really cute. A little notebook in there for jotting down all your notes in. A beautiful little booklet about the journey between Glasgow and Oban by British Railways. Interesting features en route. And this is a genuine little booklet that British Railways produced about the route. Also with some little train buttons. There's a little train marker, stitch marker. Let me see if I can grab that out. So beautifully made. So there's a little train marker and a little handcuffed one. Super, super cute. Hang on, let me do that so you can't see my face, but you can see the markers. There we go. Again, just wonderfully themed together. And the yarn that came with it is grey, white, red and sparkly. And it's just really, really pretty. And Jenny Agutter in the film and her character in the book, and I can't remember the character's name, but she has a red flag that she waves to stop the train. Yeah, very, very nice. So a beautiful, beautifully themed box again, and as always there's also a pattern in there. This was a pattern for the Heritage Wave Midnight Train Shawl. So yeah, Rosie's boxes are just always fantastic, always really well thought out, always really well put together. Just little things in there that you wouldn't think of, and she's quite obviously taken a lot of care to really pick things that work with the theme, that people are going to enjoy. The yarn is just always gorgeous. Her yarn is just absolutely fantastic, and she just sends you a little explanation of the box as well, which is just lovely. So you can never really go wrong with a Rosie's Moments mystery box. The next one that she's doing is the Faraway Tree. I haven't signed up for that one. I love Enid Blyton. I've read a lot of her books, but I never read the Magic Faraway Tree. I read a lot of Mallory Towers, Famous Five, Secret Seven, Mystically No Circus, but I have never read the Magic Faraway Tree. So I didn't sign up for the box, and also, like I say, I'm trying to be good and not add to my stash. But if you're looking for a good box, Rosie's Moments is a good one to go to. And finally, lastly, again, this goes back to my wonderful friend. He sent a lovely, lovely package through, and I'm not saying who she is because I'm not sure if she'd want to be named on the podcast or not. If you would like to, let me know, and I will. I'm sure you will see this at some point. Within this beautiful package that she sent me with some lovely chocolates, which didn't survive very long. The bag of M&Ms may have got slightly requisitioned by my husband. So they disappeared fairly quickly. And the little box of chocolates, yeah, I hate them. So, but within the this lovely package was my mug, my lovely New York mug that she sent me, which is just fabulous. The wonderful teas, but there are also a couple of other little bits as well. The chocolates, a little notebook, which is just fantastic. I can never have enough notebooks. I'm a complete notebook junkie. She sent me a lovely little Notions pouch, all with kind of postcards on, which is just with a little progress keeper, a little heart, and a little button of a kitty cat. And it's just gorgeous. I think it's made by the Curious Needle, and I've been using it for keeping my notions in. So this has got, at the moment, has a couple of stitch markers and some scrap yarn and a darning needle in it. And I've just been, using it for my little notions, but it's such a handy little pouch, so thank you very much. And she also sent me some Lucky Violet yarn. Look at those colours. Oh, yum. Yum, 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 yum. Absolutely stonkingly gorgeous and really soft. Merino wool, cashmere and nylon. I do not have anything else with cashmere in my stash. I do not own any clothing that has cashmere in. But I think I want to start. Oh, it's so soft. So soft. I'm a little bit tired at the minute, and I could just make a lovely little pillow out of this. I just stroke it against my... Oh dear, I'm missing my little furry co-host, so instead I'm gonna make up for it with this little furry co-host. And yeah, it's so soft, and it's so, I mean, the colours, just look at the colours, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, thank you so much. I was truly spoiled, so thank you, my friend, very much appreciated. Okay, final last little bit. There are 5 days left of the Keep Calm Cal. We are celebrating the Queen's birthday this year. She's going to be 90. Her actual birthday was the 21st of April, which is when our Cal opened up, and her official birthday is the 14th of June, which is when our Cal is going to close. So I'm going to close the FO thread when I wake up on June the 15th. So you need to make sure your FOs are posted before about 6 o'clock in the morning on June the 15th. The rules of the Cal are such: it either needs to be British yarn, a British or UK based designer, or a British or UK based dyer. So any of those components can be used. So it can be blacker yarns, so UK based yarn. It could be yarn dyed by yarn from abroad but dyed by an indie dyer, or dyed by a British dyer or UK based dyer. People such as Felt Fusion on Etsy, Rosie from Rosie's Moments on Etsy. You might combine the two and have British yarn dyed by a British dyer, such as yarn from Countess Ablaze or The Wool Kitchen. Or it could be that you use non-UK yarn or non-UK dyed yarn and go for a pattern by a UK based designer, such as Helen Stewart from Curious Handmade, Mina Phillip, who lives abroad but is British and from the UK. I'm just trying to think. We've got a whole list up on the Ravelry group, a whole list of UK based designers and British designers. We've got a whole list of UK yarns and UK based yarn dyers. So there are still 5 days left. So if you are currently working on something and it fits the bill, please do feel free to whack it in. Come join us on the chatter thread as well. There's going to be a prize for the chatter thread and a prize for the FO thread. They will be drawn at random by a random number generator, but please do come and join in. There are 5 days left to go. By the time this gets up on YouTube, it's probably going to be 4 days left to go. So today is the 9th, this will likely go up on very early in the morning of the 10th, so yeah, so about 4 days, depends on when you see this, but please do feel free to come and join. We've got some fantastic prizes. They are available for you to see either in the threads on the Ravelry group, or if you go back to episode 8 of the podcast, you will see all the prizes on there. But they're all fantastic, all British themed, and we've got one more coming in this week, so I will let you guys know about it when it comes in. Once the FO thread is closed, I will do another little video just announcing the winners, and obviously I will also announce it on Ravelry and also on Instagram. So yay, come and join us, it will be super fun. Love to have you there, and I will see you next time. Bye.